What's up, everyone? My name is Marie. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's speed build, we're doing something a little bit different, and this is something I am so very excited about to share this with you guys because it's just a little bit different. I am doing a spooky build because it's October, it's spooky season, it's going to be Halloween at the end of the month, and I really wanted to go ahead and try and build a spooky house, an abandoned house, just a haunted house. So yeah, this is definitely an abandoned magical house. So it once belonged to an evil witch. And I had so much fun building this. A couple weeks ago, I posted to my community tab saying that I really wanted to try and go ahead and build something spooky, even though I'm not very big on spooky builds, or at least I didn't think I was very big on it. It was just an assumption because I have never done it before, and I've never done it before for a reason. I'm just always a little bit intimidated by them, and it's not really my style, I guess. That's what I was thinking, at least. So I really needed just some ideas and just some inspiration to get started. So I went ahead and posted to my community tab if anyone had any just spooky build requests or anything, or storylines or anything. And I actually got a lot of very, very amazing reactions to it, like a couple of amazing storylines that inspired me so much. And one of you guys actually suggested that I should build something for an evil grandma witch or evil grandma spellcaster that possessed her husband, and she just kind of trapped her husband into loving her, and he was completely under the controls of her spell, and she completely had him under her power, if that's how you say it, but you probably know what I'm trying to say. And I thought that was such a cool idea. So I totally just grabbed that idea and ran with it, basically. So I just want to say thank you so much for submitting that idea because I thought it was so fun and so creative. So I kind of just took that idea and ran with it and definitely made it my own a little bit more. So what I was thinking is this house once belonged to an evil grandma. She's a witch, or she was a witch, but she was unable to love, which is really sad. Like, she was unable to, she had never received love ever. She was probably abandoned by her parents. I was thinking that she grew up in an orphanage, and we're talking like hundreds of, well, not hundreds, maybe close to 100 years ago. She grew up in an orphanage, a not very nice orphanage. Everyone there was just evil, and she just, for that reason, she doesn't know how to love. She never learned the real, true meaning of love. So that's kind of how she grew up, which is really, really sad. So she wasn't able to love, but she did have a lifelong dream of becoming a mother for some reason. And I think mainly that's because she really wants her legacy to be carried on. Like, she just really wanted to have a child to carry on the family name or something. She probably also was afraid to pass away. Like, she was afraid to die. So she really felt the need to have a child so that she could kind of, in a way, just live on, if that makes any sense. Either way, she just really had that dream of becoming a mother. But because she's unable to love, she couldn't find a spouse. Like, it was just not possible for her because she was evil. She wasn't nice. Everyone in Glimmerbrook was afraid of her. She was pretty well known as the evil lady in the big house living by herself, who was just very mean and just bewitched everyone that kind of crossed her, if that makes sense. So she was not afraid of murdering either. Like, you'll see later on, once we move on to the landscaping, there is a lot of random gravestones or tombstones in the, or on the lot. So she she has probably killed a couple people in her day for whatever reason. So she was just not a good person. She was evil. And as I mentioned, she was unable to find a spouse, and therefore she was unable to have kids because no one in their right mind would have her adopt a baby. Like, no one. Like, that's just not something that could happen. So really the only way for her to have kids was to find herself a husband and have a kid. But that was not possible. So at one point, she decided to bewitch a like poor widower living in somewhere in Glimmerbrook all by himself. He had previously lost his wife, and he was really sad and just lonely. And the evil witch just kind of took her chance, and she bewitched him, and she kind of trapped him into becoming her husband, and she trapped him into loving her. So, like I said, he was bewitched, so he believed that he loved her, even though that was all just fake. It was magic. It was dark magic. So, because the love wasn't real, they were unable to have kids, which kind of makes sense, in my opinion. So that made the witch really angry. For the longest time, she just kind of refused to believe that that was the reason, even though deep down she knew that that was the reason, because she was well aware of the side effects of the spell, but she just really wanted to give it a try because she was desperate. It was her only way out, and it was her only chance of becoming a mother. So she bewitched the poor widower, but their love was fake. So therefore, she was unable to have a child with him. And that made the grandma even more evil, and she was just so angry inside all the time. And at some point, the poor widower passed away, and no one really knows how that happened. But at the same time, everybody kind of knows that the witch probably killed him. And shortly after, the witch herself, she disappeared as well. And no one really knows where she went off to or if she died or anything. Like, the house just kind of, she just disappeared, and the house was abandoned, and no one dared to step inside this house for years and years to come. And then I think like later on, like maybe 10, 15, 20 years later, people actually broke into the house because, well, they kind of wanted to know more about the story, and they kind of wanted to look inside the house. They were curious about it and stuff like that. So people have been breaking into this house, and right now we're talking like 50 years later. I think it's like 50 years after the grandma disappeared, and a little bit more than, or a little bit over 50 years. Yeah, I think it's about like 50 years ago she disappeared, and 50 years ago the widower passed away as well, because she just disappeared. She disappeared shortly after that happened. I'm pretty sure that she died. Like, everybody is pretty sure that the grandma, she just passed away, or I don't know. I don't know what happened to her, but she's not here anymore, and she hasn't been here for like 50 years. So this house definitely is very, very much abandoned. And yeah, I was back to the build. I was having so much fun making it look abandoned. You can also definitely tell probably that I changed up the color scheme a fair bit. I started building this, and like I said, I'd never really done any spooky builds before, so I was very much intimidated by it. I didn't really know how to get started. I did know that I wanted to create a very like messy and overgrown lot, like a lot of grass and just fallen trees and rocks and random tombstones everywhere, and I placed the wishing well, as you can see. And I was a little bit intimidated by that as well, because I really just wanted it to turn out nice. Or nice for the sake of this build, that is, which is just kind of creepy and not that nice at all. But I really still like the way that it turned out. It's definitely what I had in mind. But as I was saying, when I started this build, it was looking a little bit too nice. Like, I used a lighter color scheme for the exterior at first, and even though I liked it, it kind of just looked like a very wholesome family, like spellcaster's family house, and that was not the vibe that I was trying to achieve here. So yeah, I was I just needed to, I think I started building this a couple weeks ago actually, and I just needed to step away from it for a second because I didn't think I would be able to pull it off. Like I see so many spooky things on like Instagram, like people building Sims houses, like spooky builds that are so incredible and so like pretty in their own way and so magical. And I don't know, I was just a little bit intimidated by it. I said this 1,000 times, but yeah, I was a little bit afraid. But then I got started because I got that amazing idea from one of you guys that I'm so thankful for. And it immediately gave me so much inspiration as well. So I started building this, and then later on, I just needed to change up the color scheme a little bit, make it more quote unquote ugly in my opinion, just make it look older, and it needed to be darker and less colorful, less bright. So that's what I did on the exterior. And I also placed a whole bunch of like cracks on the wall and stuff on the exterior as well. I didn't record all that because really I needed some time to just fiddle around with the build without recording, because whenever I'm recording for a speed build, there is that sort of like pressure, not really pressure, but still like you are aware of the fact that you're recording. So you want things to go well, and you don't want to have to do things over like a million times. So I needed to just stop recording for a second, play with the color scheme, place some cracks and some ivy and stuff on the wall, make it look really creepy. So I did that off camera, but you did see all of the landscaping that I did, though I also played with the terrain tools, and I didn't record that at all because I'm also very intimidated by the terrain tools. But I just wanted this lot to be less flat and just have a little bit more going on. It's not all that like crazy with like hills and stuff, but it's definitely not flat either. But I did that off camera as well, but you could see all of the landscaping that I did. I definitely made it very overgrown. There is a lot of grass everywhere, and there hasn't been any maintenance whatsoever for years and years and years. And there is like half a fence around this lot as well that at some point used to be a whole fence, like a complete fence, but it just like broke down and stuff like that. So there's only a couple random pieces of the fence left. And there's a lot of tree trunks and just ivy and grass, as I already mentioned. So I was definitely having so much fun with all that landscaping, and I really like the way that it turned out. Definitely not a build that I would want to go ahead and explore in real life. But you could see that we moved on to the inside that I was also having a lot of fun with. I really loved using those spider webs that you could see me place everywhere. I don't think I've ever used those ever, but I just like them so much. And for this build, they're perfect. So as I was talking about, when I was talking about the storyline a little bit, I think at some point people did break into this house and try to kind of like see whatever was in here, and maybe homeless people have spent the night here or something, or people have been going through all the magical stuff that's inside this house, which is why you can kind of see like orbs and potions and wands everywhere and magical books just scattered around the place everywhere. I don't really know how it became such a mess, but it's probably also haunted. Like maybe, I think that was actually in the original storyline that one of you guys suggested, was that the house is haunted by the widower that passed away, by the husband that passed away. And I actually think that that is a really cool idea. So maybe the ghost of the husband is still like present in this house, and he's so angry inside because once he died, he probably realized that he'd been possessed for half his life. Well, not half his life, but for a very, very long time. So once he died, the spell kind of broke. I don't really know how else to explain it, but like the spell didn't work anymore. So he became a very angry ghost, and maybe like people that go in this house to explore it don't return or something. That could also be a cool, scary thing. Like maybe it's haunted by the husband and he just kind of maybe kills or does whatever to to the people that break into this house because he's so angry and he doesn't know what to do with all that like angry energy. So whenever there is people coming into this house, he kind of takes it out on them. That could be a really cool idea as well. So maybe that is why there is a lot of tombstones around on the lot as well. So there's all these cool ideas. Like, even though I already built this and I already thought about the whole storyline, like as I'm watching this footage and as I'm talking about the build, I get so inspired again. Like all this new inspiration just like comes to me for some reason. I don't know why. And it's a lot of fun. Like, I am really happy with the way that this turned out. And I'm also kind of proud of myself for actually finishing this build. Because for a little while, I was like, you know what? Maybe a spooky build is not for me. Maybe I should just stop making it spooky. Maybe I should actually make it into a wholesome, like, spellcaster's family home. Maybe that is fun. But that also at the same time kind of just felt like giving up. And I really, really wanted to do something that I'd never done before. So making it spooky and all cluttered and messy was definitely out of my comfort zone a little bit. Though I do like cluttering up builds. Like, I use a lot of clutter in all of my builds, and I have built a couple of houses that are more like run down and just not as nice, but definitely never an abandoned house. So this was definitely something different and something that I'm very proud of because I was so intimidated by it at first. But I did manage to finish it, and even better, I had so much fun doing it as well. Like, I didn't think I would have this much fun, but I definitely had so much fun just placing all the furniture everywhere, and I don't know, just placing it down all crooked, and I was just having a lot of fun with it. I'm repeating myself over and over again. I'm so sorry if it's becoming a bit repetitive, but I was just amazed by the fact that I had so much fun with this. But we moved on to the upstairs area. And then there is also a ladder going up to the tower area. And I placed a random organ in there, which I think is really fun and really spooky. So I did use a lot of items that came with vampires and Realm of Magic, obviously, but also vampires because it's just spooky and cool. And definitely goes well with the whole evil witch aesthetic, in my opinion. So yeah, that was really fun. But you can see that the upstairs area is actually pretty spacious. There is one bedroom that used to be the witch and the husband's bedroom, I suppose. Then there is one like spellcaster's study area that is quite big, but there is a desk in there and a whole bunch of potions and bookcases and just magical things. So I was definitely imagining that was that used to be the witch's study where she would study her spells and her potions and create all sorts of evil magical things. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And then there's also a very sad nursery because, as I mentioned in the storyline, the witch, it was her lifelong dream to become a mom, but that dream never became reality. But she did always have this nursery just ready to go for whenever she became a mother. That just never happened. But the room is still a nursery. Like, she never turned it into anything else. So that's just an unused nursery that is really sad and really creepy, in my opinion. But yeah, I just definitely had a lot of fun with it. And here in this bedroom, it's definitely not functional, but I think that a lot of things in this house are not functional because of the way I placed the furniture, and it's also difficult to enter the house at all. Like, when I was playtesting it, my sim could only use the back door, I think, because there's so much landscaping in the front and just blocking everything. But I didn't really want to make this house functional. I did actually upload it to the gallery under the hashtag #FixMeLilSimsy. Like, you probably all know what that is. Like, Lil Simsy goes on the gallery, searches for houses to fix. So I did think that this would be a cool entry for that as well. So my point is, if you want to go ahead, I can't speak. If you want to go ahead and download this house and renovate it, you're welcome to do so. I was kind of thinking that there, now 50 years later, there is a spellcaster's couple, like 2 young spellcasters that are expecting their first baby, and they have like 20,000 simoleons saved up, and they bought this house and they have 20,000 simoleons to renovate it completely and just turn it into their perfect magical like spellcaster's family home. So I thought that would be a fun addition to this gallery upload as well. So if you want to go ahead and do that, that'd be really fun. Maybe I want to go ahead and do that myself as well, because I do think that this house could be really pretty. Like if I change up the whole color scheme and make it a little bit brighter and just nicer, remove all the scary items and remove all the spider webs and all the gross like stains on the floor and cracks on the wall and stuff like that. And you could just really turn it into a very nice house if you wanted to. So I think that would be very interesting to see. And very fun to do as well. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you are definitely welcome to do so. But yeah, here you can see this is that study area that I was talking about. There's just random books and random items everywhere. I think this is my favorite house, or my favorite room in the house. Also because of the gorgeous lighting that comes through that large rounded window. I think that is just the prettiest thing. So yeah, that is definitely my favorite room of the house. And then this is that sad, unused nursery that I was talking about before. I do really like it. It could be really pretty, but right now, also because the whole storyline is just really, really creepy, in my opinion at least. But I do like it. It could be so pretty. There is that magical fireplace in here, and then the color scheme in here is a little bit lighter. Like the furniture is a little bit brighter. I used a lot of cream colors and a lot of whites as well, just to make it a little bit more like baby friendly and appropriate for a baby, I guess. But yeah, this room could be a really pretty magical nursery, I think. So that is why I thought it'd be fun for a young spellcasters couple to buy this house and renovate it completely, so they can actually turn this creepy nursery into a very pretty magical nursery. But yeah, I placed these random toys all around, like that weird horse and that weird dragon and things. Like they could be like old school toys. I thought that'd be a fun idea because this house is really old, so that just makes sense. I just placed a couple of random books around and some brooms and some orbs and potions everywhere. And yeah, I really enjoyed this build. I really had so much fun with it. And I hope you do too. I'm not even that big on Halloween, probably because here in the Netherlands, Halloween is not that much of a thing. Like it's become more of a thing over the years, but it's definitely more of an American thing, I think. But yeah, I really do like creating spooky things, even though I didn't think I would enjoy it, but that was a wrong assumption. Like I actually really, really enjoy it, and I definitely want to do it more often. Even though it's spooky season right now, but it doesn't really matter. Like I can do creepy builds whenever, I think. But yeah, you can really see the house come together. It's almost finished. I just placed down a couple of extra knickknacks everywhere, a couple of books, and I think I placed an old like picnic table back here. Yeah, I definitely did that as well. And just some random knickknacks on the porch. And yeah, oh yeah, I placed a couple of lights on the front porch as well, made it a little bit more overgrown with ivy and stuff. And I also blocked the front door here with just a random little wooden thing. But yeah, that is already it for this build. So like I mentioned already, you can definitely go ahead and download this build off the gallery if you want to. My username on the gallery is Simmarysims. You can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter if you'd like. My username on there is Simmarysims as well. So I just want to say thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next build. Bye!